Sioux Falls, and welcome to Planning Preview for the month of August. My name is Jason Bieber with the Planning Office at the City of Sioux Falls, and joining me, as always, is Karla with the Planning Department to talk through our items this month.
Yes, I'm back.
Thanks for joining us, and it looks like we don't have too big of an agenda, but maybe a couple of fun ones to kind of highlight, so maybe we should get right into it.
Let's do it.
The first one we've got here is, it looks like it's a twin home kind of going into what we call a townhome residential traditional district at 216 South Elmwood. Can you talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, on this one, it's kind of an infill lot. So in theory, you would be able to do the townhome, twin home, but the frontage is so narrow that you need to just change the zoning classification to fit your townhome there.
And then that traditional district also, that kind of allows some reduced front yard and rear yard setbacks, right, for some of these infill lots like you just talked about, correct? Yeah. So that's kind of another way to be able to get some of those lots within the core of the city built and more density and all that stuff. So that's great.
You got it.
Next we've got, looks like it's RD1 to RD2, so twin home duplex to townhome. And this is over kind of north of East 69th Street and east of South Sycamore Avenue. Kind of actually will kind of be pretty close to where Veterans Parkway will come shooting through there, huh?
Yep, so easy access for all of those folks who live there. And again, they just need to move into that next tier of zoning to allow for 5 units as opposed to limiting them to just the 2 units. And they'd be able to fit the lot and meet the rest of our requirements. So it'll be a win for the neighborhood.
Yeah, and one of the things I think people want to know about it with the townhome residential, those are so they have to split each unit off individually, right? So,
yes.
So they'll kind of all be owner occupied
Separate
instead
utilities,
of like a perfect.
Not an apartment.
Yep.
Just you own the land as well.
Great, that's a great one. All right, and then we've got, it looks like rezoning from the Conservation District to Light Industrial, located at 5910 East Rice Street. This is kind of way on East Rice by a lot of other industrial properties out there currently, correct?
Yep, across the street from Great Bear there.
Okay.
So a little bit of coordinating with the accesses and the floodplain. You got the railroad there. So different jurisdictions or different disciplines taking a look at this application. But overall, I think the neighborhood, it would match with the rest of the neighborhood with the industrial use. And the intent here for the applicant is to do a contractor shop.
Oh, great. Yeah, I know this property has come up a lot over the last 10 to 15 years. And really the challenge was always, like you talked about, the floodplain and stuff out there. So it'd be good to actually get something on there. So that's
Agreed.
great. Next one we got here is we're going from our Midtown mixed use down to kind of straight zoning to live, work, and C2 commercial. And this is at the southeast corner of 18th and Minnesota. So talk a little bit about this one for me.
Yes, so the intent of the project is similar, maybe scaling it down some components instead of being taller buildings, a little bit smaller scale, more blend in with the neighborhood. That east side, directly adjacent to the historic district, will still remain historically accurate, and then the west side is probably seeing the bigger changes of less street frontage on the building, and then it's pushed back some more.
Yeah, and I think this one, when they rezoned it to that Midtown mixed use, we were pretty excited about that to try and get some really high density on Minnesota. It seems like, unfortunately, with the economy and the cost of construction and the cost of prices specifically for their parking ramp, it seems like they got to downsize, like you talked a little bit about. But the overall intent for a redevelopment of there is going to be still a good project, just not as quite as cool as what we initially saw.
Yeah, we value those corridors that lead into downtown, so we're still hopeful that a mixed-use product will come out.
Yep, on Minnesota. And then I think they're also planning on Dakota to do some diagonal parking too, correct? To kind of, that'll slow some of that traffic too down Dakota, because I hear Dakota Avenue is kind of a speedway especially between 18th and 22nd and 26th Street. People try and go pretty fast out there trying to bypass Minnesota. So
yeah, so there'll be other ways that folks can get involved and have their voice heard at a planning commission and city council.
All right, our last one we got here looks like it's an alternative site plan for parking reduction. And this is for that Core Trust Bank, their 2-story bank and office building that we heard of their rezoning here, I think, a couple of months ago. But that one's located at the northwest corner of 22nd in Minnesota. We don't see a lot of these, so maybe talk a little bit about a parking reduction alternative plan.
Yeah, this is a great component of the zoning ordinance where conventional zoning might have too many parking spaces than you think you need. So then just show us what the capacity would be for your type of land use.
And I think this is great. as we know, banks, a lot of people do their banking online. Not many people go to maybe a brick and mortar bank
Right.
as much anymore. So this is another great way to not have these ginormous parking lots that nobody parks in on Minnesota Avenue. So it's a great way to do that. So
That's the goal here.
so that's all of our cases that we have for the month of August, but I wanted to talk a little bit, or you highlight something that you and our intern Taya have been working on with our letters that we have to send out from 300 feet. So you guys have added kind of a QR code that's going to take you to a certain part of YouTube, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we jumped on the QR train that we've seen popular nationwide and in our community. So if you got here with the QR code, you're exactly where you need to be. Hopefully you find this informational as to what's going on in your neighborhood, but you're always welcome to come see us at City Center or give us a call.
And I think that's, like I said, just another great way for people to be able to go somewhere and watch at their own pace, or if they want to watch one or two or the whole show,
Yeah.
or fast forward. So that's awesome to do that and kind of get that innovation. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, we
So-
value transparency, so we hope that's just another effort here.
Yes, we do. So thanks for joining us, Karla. Appreciate it. We'll see you next month.
Yes, thank you.
And stay tuned, Sioux Falls. After the break, we're going to have our intern Taya join us and talk a little bit about her experience here with the city of Sioux Falls and just all things in general. So stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Brent and I'm a housing specialist with the City of Sioux Falls, and I'm here with Kelly, who is the property maintenance manager for code enforcement here in Sioux Falls. Kelly, we're looking at this window in the background here, and this family has decided to put in an egress window and finish a bedroom down here. Do they really need this type of a window?
Yes, absolutely. If you're going to have a habitable sleeping space in the basement, you need to have an egress window. It's got to be a 5 square foot opening, and that's for your safety in case of a fire or emergency. You need to get out, you can get out, or firemen or rescue personnel can get in to get you.
I see they have a metal window well and then a cover on that. Should they have a cover that's fastened down on an egress window?
No, the cover cannot be fastened down. You can have the cover, just not fastened down, something that's easily openable. And if it's more than 4 feet tall, it needs to have a ladder so somebody can climb out.
Right. If they didn't want metal, could they have a wood one or made out of rocks?
Yep, you can have a wood or a block egress window. I mean, the well is just to keep the dirt away and give you the area to get out of the window.
Thank you, Kelly. Well, if you're planning on having habitable space down in your basement and to keep your family safe, be sure to install a new egress window.
If you'd like to see if one of our city programs can help you out, call 367-8180 or check us out online at siouxfalls.org.
Welcome back to Planning Preview for the month of August. Joining me now is our Ascend intern for the Planning Development Services Department, Taya Baker. So it's so great to have you on the show, Taya. I like to do this every year because we've had such good experience with our interns, and I can speak for myself and the whole department, and this year's no different. You've worked so hard, and it's great to have you on the show and talk a little bit about you and what you're doing in school, and then also kind of what you learned this year with the city, not only planning development services, but in the entire city as a whole, because part of the Ascend program, you get to do a bunch of other fun things. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So I'm just going to go down a couple of things. So, and you just correct me if I'm wrong. So you're originally from Omaha, correct?
Yeah.
And you go to Augustana
Yes.
University. And what year are you going to be this year?
I will be a senior this year.
Senior. And fourth, fifth year senior?
4th year.
Oh my gosh, you're way smarter than the rest of us. I was like a 5-year guy. But you also play on the soccer team, correct?
Yeah, I'll be a senior goalkeeper this year.
So goalkeeper. Is that what you've always done in soccer?
I think since I was like 12, yeah.
So do you guys get to travel quite a bit for soccer then?
We play in the fall season, and honestly, as soon as August starts, we start right up with preseason, and then we're traveling and having home games and just in full soccer mode up until about mid-November.
So how many people you have on the team?
Anywhere from like 33 to 36. I think
Holy
this year
cow.
I think this year we'll be at 35.
And then do you have like a JV team too, or is it just all one team?
Just all one team.
And geez, that's a lot of people. I didn't think
Yeah.
there was that many. So this will be your last year at Augustana, and what are you going to school for?
So I am studying government and international relations as like my main major, and then I'm also studying some English and philosophy on the side.
So when you applied for the internship with the Planning Development Service, what kind of drew you to that, or why did you want to apply?
Yeah, so I honestly really kind of wanted to see what working for the city would be like in general. I think that was like my first like biggest draw in when I was like looking around for internships and seeing what I wanted to do. I really wanted to see what like that public service kind of just like role would be and like how that looks like and like in the real world and how that plays out. And then I think specifically like coming into the planning and development side, I really wanted to look at what like development looks like in Sioux Falls and like how you guys are moving forward and how you deal with all the changes that are coming.
Well, that's awesome. I know, like I said, when you interned, I remember when we interviewed you, and I was like, "Oh, we got this girl Taya, and she's so articulate, and she'll be so good at this." So, it's awesome that you were able to join us. You know, with not maybe a specific degree, and like I said, like planning, but government in general, and we've had in the past a lot of public administration, similar kind of thing. Because hopefully you kind of understood that planning, we don't just have our own department, we get to work with so many other departments. We get to be middlemen a lot, which isn't always good, but still it's fun to be able to help facilitate some of that stuff. So
yeah, I think that's honestly one of like the coolest things that I've been able to see and do is just like see how much you guys work with like every other department in the city. Like you guys do with stuff with housing and economics, and you're still working with normal zoning and all this stuff like that, and you guys are in the mayor's office every week with city council and stuff, so that's been really interesting so far.
Yeah, and it's fun. That's what's kind of, I always say is fun about our job. Every day is a little bit different, otherwise you get kind of monotonous. So as part of the Ascend program, which was this program that came out of leadership class that was done by a group of people. So one thing I really like about it is a traditional intern, all you kind of do is stay in your department, your silo as we call it or whatever. But tell me some fun things about the Ascend program that you've got to do with I think there's another 17 other Ascend, am I right?
I think there's 25 total
25 total, so another 24. That's probably the biggest class we've had, right?
I think that's what they said it was, yeah.
So tell us a couple of fun things that you've done just in the program in general that wasn't through our department.
Yeah, for sure. I think the number one, like my favorite thing that we've gotten to do, we got to tour the new public safety facility.
Yes, very cool.
That like just opened, I think, a year or two ago. So that's like where all the new police, firefighters, and all the thing, that's where they train, and it's their brand new facility, and it is so cool and so amazing. And I know that's something I could never do, but I'm so glad that we have facilities like that where people are able to train to that high of a level before they actually like come into that role. So I thought that was so interesting and so cool. We've also done a couple different volunteer opportunities. Like just yesterday, we were at Feeding South Dakota helping with bagging up new produce that they got donated to them, and then putting together food packages for their senior program. And we've also got to do like some different like panel interviews type situations with a couple different leaders within the community and that serve the citizens. Like we got to meet with one of the city councilors as well as one of the city attorneys that we got to do before watching one of like the city council information sessions. And then we also got to do another kind of like panel opportunity with the mayor, chief of police, and chief of fire, I think. So that was really interesting too.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I always talk about a little bit with our city too, is some cities you seem to have like this huge rivalry, I can't say that word I guess, but between the police and fire, like they don't really get along. But we just have such a great fire chief and police chief that get along, and yeah, they're separate departments, but they work so well together. It's just a great thing to have here in Sioux Falls. Yeah. And obviously our mayor is fun to be around. He's a really good guy, and he's got a great sense of humor and personality, so I bet that was really exciting for you.
Yeah.
So let's pivot a little bit here. So talk about, tell me one thing that surprises you about working for the city and the planning department.
I think one thing that surprised me a lot is how you guys have developers that come in and set up meetings and genuinely want to have a sit-down conversation with you guys and hear what you guys want to see in the city. Like they come in and they're like, I've just purchased this land. Obviously they want to make profit off of it, but they're coming to you looking for suggestions of what they want to build. Like, do they want to get apartments? Do they want to look for townhomes? Are you guys looking to see maybe some commercial in that area, or maybe green space that you guys can develop on later, like that type of thing. I thought was so interesting to see like how involved you guys are in the community and how like people look to you for answers, and that like just relationship of trust that you guys have.
You know, most people takes like 10 years to figure that out. So that's awesome that you learned that in 2 months. So that's great. No, I think that's an amazing point that, yeah, when you're in the development community, you have to obviously make money because you have investors that are expecting it. But I do think there's a lot of our developers, especially the ones, I mean, most of our developers are from Sioux Falls. So I do think they try and go a little above and beyond and really want to they have a little skin in the game in this community. So that's awesome to hear that. Yeah. And then what's one thing, like, you've kind of done some, I would say, driving around is the wrong word, but done some tours of the city. What's like one project that sticks out to you that you're like, oh man, that's so cool, and I wish we had that in Omaha, or wish I have that in the other city that I have?
I thought, so I had like no part in it or anything, but coming in and seeing right away the Veterans Community Project, is that the name for it?
Yeah.
I think that has been something so amazing that you guys have been able to help on. Like being able to build the homes for our veterans and give them true housing opportunities, and then being able to use that housing opportunity to then go forward and hopefully be able to build a more like stable life and career off of that, and use that housing as like a stepping stone. I think that was so special and so amazing and like so cool to see.
Yeah, and that was one of the great things that I think of this administration has been really one of their big important thing is accessible housing and helping all people. So that was one that the city actually participated quite a bit in to get the land and build the road for that to go in there. So yes, that's another great project. I'm glad you highlighted that one. And then, I mean, obviously you've seen kind of our downtown and some of the things that have happened over the last, 5 years probably, how much it's grown up. Like, what's one thing you like about our downtown? And then maybe the next question is, you're from Omaha, they have a really cool old market downtown area too.
For sure.
What's one thing that you think our downtown could take away from the old market area or Omaha's downtown?
Yeah, I think, one thing that I have really, really loved about the downtown has been the new Jacobson Plaza
Yes, very cool.
opening. I have gotten to kind of like walk around down that area and like see just like the huge new like play area that's I heard is accessible. So like if it's open for all kids and like all abilities, which I think is amazing. Makes me want to be a little kid again and go play on that because it actually looks so fun. And like the huge splash pad, and then also having like the restaurant that's right next to there, and then it's like also like just right across the sidewalk from like other businesses and like restaurants and all those like shops and stuff. I think that is so cool, and like such like I think brings in a lot of like heart to that area. And makes it just not like you think of a typical downtown like business or shopping area, but like brings in something for families and that. And I think thinking of Omaha, what I'd like to see, I think a lot of family businesses are still located in downtown Omaha, and you have like really long standing restaurants and businesses that have just been there for a really long time. I think as Sioux Falls continues to grow and develop, you're going to see those really start to sit in the downtown area, and I think that will be super cool to see how they grow, and especially within the downtown area, like how they like assert themselves in this place.
And that's a great point, because when the only one I can think comes to mind that's probably been downtown for 20 plus years is like Minerva's restaurant, right? That's been there a long time. But you're right, everything else that's really went in there has been within probably the last 10 years, you know? So that's a great point, that it'll be nice to get kind of that, those ones that are long standing and not always new stuff, but have that kind of Minerva's feel and stuff. That's a great job. And going back to your Jacobson Plaza, I think you nailed it on the head too. I mean, our downtown is great, but like you said, it wasn't a ton family friendly because, and now being able to get the families down there, I think that just brings more people in to also support the businesses and the restaurants. So I think you nailed that on the head. That was perfect. So last question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, what do you want to do after this internship?
I think honestly, one of my favorite parts that I've like appreciated a lot about this internship is kind of how it's like opened up my career and like worldview into that. Coming into college, I think I was dead set on I'm going to be a government major. I'm going to go to law school, like that type of like very traditional government pipeline that we see. But I think this internship has really opened me up to like a lot of like the public administration, public service
Yes.
side. So I've really started to look at careers where I could go work within the public service mindset and be able to serve people, whether that's in policy or I ideally would still like to be involved in government and that type of thing. So hopefully 5 years, I see myself, can't exactly put a pin on it, what I want to do, but be able to see myself like working for the government or just working for the people, and hopefully being able to have that like stewardship mindset still.
Well, I think from myself, like I said, just with how articulate you are, I can tell that you're going to be able to build relationships really well. And a lot of what we do in government is building those relationships. So if that's what you choose your path, I think you'll be very successful at that, because I think you have that skill, which a lot of people don't have, to be able to have a conversation and build relationships, not only with developers and fellow employees, but also residents of the community, right? To be able to go talk to them. So I think you're well on your way, and like I said, I hope you find what you want in the next 5 years. So
Thank you.
well, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. And thanks for joining us for Planning Preview for the month of August. Just a reminder, this month is actually on Thursday, August 7th at 6 p.m. Our meeting gets bumped because the city council meeting was bumped to Wednesday because of National Night Out on Tuesday. So just a reminder, we are on Thursday, August 7th, at 6 p.m. at the Carnegie Town Hall as always. And we do allow public input for any of the items that we talked about earlier in the show, or we also do have that 5 minute of public comment at the end of the agenda to talk anything planning related. So thanks, Sioux Falls, and have a great day.